FunkyFrogBait just claimed that the civil rights movement was a mistake and swore their allegiance to the Confederate flag. Or at least that's what you'd think that they did based on the response that we are seeing from millions of people. No, in reality, this situation is a lot more frustrating and a lot less deep than people are making it out to be, which in a roundabout way has made it so much more deep than it ever could have possibly been conceived to have been. Because the fact that the internet is trying to oust someone who is so clearly an ally, so clearly a good person, is both insufferable, terrifying, but worst of all, unsurprising. Now, firstly, I want to make it clear before we get into this that FunkyFrogBait might have some wee blind spots as a white person race-wise. Like, pretty much everyone does, by the way. And it might be good for them to realize those blind spots and work on them before repeating this same mistake of giving strongly opinionated, I guess, monologues about topics that they are uneducated about. Particularly on live stream format, which is a format they're not used to because it's a lot easier to do something like that there. Bottom line, what I'm saying is it's not like they did nothing wrong at all. And I will absolutely be showing you all where they messed up, but also why they messed up. Because as a creator who has been both racially abused and also baselessly accused of racism in my short career, I genuinely feel as though I have a lot to add to this conversation. Also, bottom line though, FunkyFrogBait is clearly not a racist, and anyone who's saying that they are is, in my opinion, just trying to out-moral people or virtue signal, as opposed to actually going after genuinely racist people and getting to the roots of these issues. I'll talk about why that's happening in this video, of course, but first, I understand that this is going to make no sense to anyone who doesn't actually know anything about this situation, so preamble over, let's actually talk about what happens now, shall we? And I would urge anyone who either agrees or disagrees with me based on the first, minute or so of this video to actually stay tuned and listen to what I have to say. I mean, if you want to base your entire opinion of this video and me as a person on that 1 minute where I don't actually talk about anything substantial, then fair enough, I guess, but I would urge you to stay. You know, if you disagree with me at the end of this and you think I'm a massive arse, that's whatever, right? But at least you'll have listened to me. So I guess first I should show you all who FunkyFrogBait is, for those who don't know. I'm sure most of you do, though, because the majority of people subscribed to this channel are probably subscribed to theirs. They're a YouTuber, they've got over 3 million subscribers, and they're really, really good. I'm a genuine fan of this channel. I think that they're great. I think they're well-researched, I think they're well-written, I think that they're funny, and I think that they're creative as well. If you've never heard of the channel, I'd recommend you give them a watch because they are great, and if you enjoy this one, you will definitely enjoy theirs. I genuinely use it as inspiration for the type of content that I would like to produce in the near future. Now, just to be clear, although I am a self-admitted fan of their content, I am not going to be, there's no bias here. And there's a lot of people being like, oh, there's, unintentional bias, you don't realize but no, there's no bias here, I promise you. If I never heard of this person before, I'd still have this exact same opinion. Okay, so with them out the way, we are going to talk about Gooseworx. Gooseworx is like the antithesis for the start of everything, right? The thing that blew up FunkyFrogBait and exposed them for the racist that they are. Because Gooseworx is another horrific racist who thinks that the civil rights movement was a mistake and also is a massive fan of the Confederacy, I guess. In fact, from what I'm hearing about this person, Jesus, they must be KKK adjacent. This is Gooseworx here. They are the creator of a massively popular internet show called The Amazing Digital Circus. As you can see by the most popular videos on this channel here, Glitch, The Amazing Digital Circus gets hundreds of millions of views per episode. I personally have never watched a single episode. Just a caveat there for those who are interested, I guess. But yeah, massively, insanely popular show. Here's Gooseworx's personal channel. They have 2 million subscribers and they're sort of just a shitposty channel, I guess. I mean, when they got something as successful as The Amazing Digital Circus in their back burner, then they don't really need to do anything on their main channel, I guess. There you go, that is a video on her channel, I guess. That video was titled Update. So yeah, not too much to talk about on their channel personally, I suppose. It's quite nostalgic though. As I scroll down, I'm getting really old school Newgrounds vibes, to be honest. Seems like there's someone who just sort of stuck at their passion and eventually came to make something that was incredibly fucking successful. So honestly, good on them. That shit is incredibly admirable. Although maybe I shouldn't be so quick to say that because apparently they're a huge racist. I mean, they were so racist that FunkyFrogBait merely defending them made them a massive racist as well. So Jesus, let's have a look at these tweets that people have been pointing out. Now I'm going to show you these tweets, but just bear in mind as I show you them that the reason FunkyFrogBait is being cancelled is because they said that there was no real evidence that Gooseworx at this moment in time is a racist. That's the cliff notes there. We're obviously going to have a look at the clip itself that people are cancelling them over, but just bear that in mind for when I show you these tweets from Gooseworx. Here's a very famous tweet that people have been pointing out out of them responding to someone saying incest is wincest. We have no idea what the original tweet was, and this is a tweet from 2015, over 10 years ago. Anyone who genuinely cares about this or thinks that this is a person who loves incest and that this isn't just an edgy shit joke, I think you're insane. Okay, so this is nothing, but there's many other tweets, of course. Let's have a look. It seems as though someone has sorted their tweet out by, like, they found the word incest on their Twitter, and they have found 5 tweets in the span of, once again, over 10 years that mention the word incest in a crass fashion, I suppose. So yeah, this isn't really evidence of anything. We can move on. I don't care. Oh my god, I've just found a tweet from 2016 of them saying that they're racist. There you go, there's a tweet from 2015. Like, is it seriously hard to not be racist? And then a year later they say, but I thought I already told you I'm racist. Damn. Well, I guess that proves it. We've got one tweet from them 10 years ago just saying point blank period that they're a racist. This is something that we should take 100% seriously. So again, let's just be clear. This is one tweet from 10 fucking years ago of them jokingly saying that they're a racist. I have made similar jokes on this channel before and no one has given a fuck because it means nothing. Is Nazi the new term for someone who doesn't like when people do something bad? Because if so, I'm a Nazi. Okay, again, this is a satirical tweet from over 10 years ago where they jokingly call themselves a Nazi. Anyone who is genuinely sitting there and going, oh my god, they've just genuinely admitted to being a Nazi is fucking that's unhinged behavior. You want to call it a bad joke from someone who has nowhere near the platform that they have now, then that's fine, I guess. But this is not proof of racism at all. Same goes for the tweet right under it from 2017, everyone's a Nazi for something. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then we've got these tweets here from 2022. Just a general curiosity, when you're with super close friends who you know really well, do you make horrible edgy jokes that you would never think of making in public or around anyone who wouldn't know you're joking? Fart Lover 1000 responds with Goose, is this something we should be worried about? Because a lot of artists have been revealed to make very racist jokes behind the scenes, and this is kind of making me nervous. Gooseworx says, I'm not gonna lie and pretend I don't make super edgy jokes around close friends. I think absurd, shocking stuff is funny, but I get why people don't like it or get the humor in it, which is why I'd never make jokes like that around people who aren't comfortable with them. Is this even particularly unreasonable? I don't think so. Everyone makes jokes that edge a little bit closer to the line when they are around people who they are more comfortable with or who they have known for years of their life. Because you know where each other's boundaries are. And usually with comedy or humor, the closer you get to the line without actually crossing it, the funnier it is. When you meet someone new or when you're an influencer who doesn't know where everyone's boundaries are, you don't make those same jokes. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a good thing for Gooseworx to say, by the way. Sort of going online and talking about, hey, look, go ahead and cancel me, but I make edgy jokes in private. It's like, come on, mate, calm the fuck down. Like, I don't think it's, I think it's cringe. I do think it's cringe what they're doing here, but again, to call them a racist over this is insane to me, especially because we don't even know what the jokes in question are. That's like not reassuring at all, and as someone who's black, I'm just gonna have to unfollow you for this one. I grew up with your videos, so this is really hard to hear. Also, being racist isn't humor, it's called being racist. Okay, I mean, if you're someone who thinks that it is completely irresponsible and unacceptable in all cases to make any joke that centers race as a subject at all, then that's whatever, I guess. You can have that opinion. I personally think that it's a little insane, but, you know, no hate towards anyone who has that opinion. If you want to unfollow them over that, then that's totally fine, but if you want to call them a confirmed racist over it, again, I think that is way too strong of a claim to make. Okay, here's another tweet from 2022. Again, this has 6 likes, dude. So they are not talking to anyone here. Like, this is a very, very small audience compared to the gargantuan one that they have now. The humor I find in offensive jokes isn't that I think saying horrible things about minorities is funny, it's more that I'm imagining the absurdity and stupidity of someone who would legitimately say it. Like, imagine someone actually saying this in this situation. Which is why I also clarify around super close friends, because they would know well enough to know you don't actually believe stuff like that. Again, I think it's cringe to like try and defend something that no one was even questioning you over Twitter. Nothing that they're saying here is particularly offensive at all, really. I mean, it all sounds pretty reasonable. I understand that this is like the justification that a lot of genuine racists use when they tell really fucking offensive jokes and use, oh, it's just humor as a crutch. But again, there's just no evidence that Gooseworx is actually doing that. If I were to make a tweet about Shadman, it would be way more direct and way more edgier, like something like, who's gonna fill the shoes Shadman left empty? I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I guess it's gonna be me. Something like that, I think. Okay, this is, again, a joking tweet from 2021 about Shadman, who is an artist who made lolly art, I guess. If you want to use this as evidence that there's some sort of predator, then that's whatever, I guess. But I just don't care. I just don't care. It's also not relevant for this conversation because we're talking about the racism allegations. Oh my goodness, this person has also posted them saying the N-word. That's nega angel. They have, of course, left out the critical piece of context that nega is a term used in these art communities as like a shortened version of negative. And so if the character being spoken about on this YouTube live is is called Angel, adding the prefix nega before the word angel implies that this is like the opposite of the character Angel. Like the Flash and the Anti-Flash, which is like the evil version of the Flash, I guess. This would be like calling Bo Burnham an insane racist for that very famous vinegar joke that they made a couple of years back.
We'll do a racial joke about the white people so you don't feel uncomfortable. White people, we like the same foods. Favorite sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, macaroni and our favorite chips, salt and wow.
Nega is obviously not a term that they use nowadays because it sounds too much like the N-word, and that's fine, I guess, whatever. Again, I just don't really give a fuck. I honestly think that anyone who isn't unhinged will look at these tweets and think, oh, some old edgy tweets that we shouldn't take too seriously. And that's it, by the way. Like, that is genuinely it. Well, actually, no, there is this clip here of the Digital Circus crew playing a game of Jack in the Box, I think? Or Quiplash, whatever this game is called.
So long, nigga. Goose, I really want to read the message you just sent, but I don't want to get in trouble again.
Hold on, let me see the message. Hold on, I'll read it. That's Nega Angel. I'll take the blunt of it for you, dearie.
Dearie? Oh, thank you, honey. Fetus still.
Get on Jackbox, say a little N-word.
Okay, now just for context, this clip looks pretty bad. This is a clip of the Digital Circus crew over 7 years ago, telling, in my opinion, a insensitive joke. And also, for added context, Gooseworx isn't even a part of the fucking clip. Gooseworx is being criticized for having hired these people to work on Digital Circus years later. The crew were obviously criticized when this 7-year-old clip was dug up, and they apologized for it, which is good. I think it's worth apologizing for, because it was, in my opinion, a very insensitive joke. However, there is a difference between acknowledging that someone said an insensitive joke 7 years ago, a joke that they have apologized for now, and saying that that joke they made 7 years ago, especially when it's the only evidence you have for them being a racist, means that they are currently an insane racist who can never redeem themselves, ever. They apologize. This is one of them apologizing in a tweet here. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it's a very genuine apology in my opinion. There is nothing more needed from them. We can move on. Here is another person who was part of the clip responding. Again, I think it is completely genuine. I think it's a good apology. I think it is proportional to the initial incident. I think we can move on. Now again, if you choose not to move on, if you choose to stop supporting them and, you know, it's unacceptable to support their art because of these old clips, that's whatever. You can have that opinion. But let's not act as though it's unreasonable to have the opinion that I hold as well, which is it really isn't that deep. Like, it just isn't. They made a couple edgy jokes like a decade ago. Not even a couple. That's like the only clip that people can pull up of the actual cast making racist jokes, I guess. That's the closest thing you could get to it. And they all apologized for it. And that's all guilt by association type shit. The stuff that fucking Gooseworx themselves was saying is way tamer than what that clip entails. And Gooseworx, of course, is also someone who has taken a very clear stand against racism and the people defending them using racism against these old tweets and stuff. I feel like I should say, if you think you're on my side by saying genuine racist, hateful things to black people in the fandom, then it is my personal belief that you should shoot yourself in the head with a gun. That's everything, by the way. I've covered every racist tweet that people have been talking about. Every evidence of Gooseworx's racism that people have been talking about. Now, you might disagree with me. I think it is very reasonable to say that there is no evidence for Gooseworx currently being a racist. If you genuinely believe that they are in fact a racist, you can believe that, that's fine, but you would be making an assumption. I also think it is completely reasonable to say that if you want to thrust the accusation of racism upon this person and accuse anyone who supports them of also being a racist, or anyone who just believes that they aren't a racist of being a racist, you are fucking unhinged. And it's just confusing to me because most of the people accusing, it's almost like they want them to be racist. But a lot of these people are fans of the show, fans of FunkyFrogBait. So what the fuck are you doing trying to stretch these accusations of racism based on pretty much nothing onto the people that you supposedly enjoy so much? Well, I know the reason why. It's because these people actually have souls and the criticism will affect them. When you call someone like Asmongold racist, that shit just bounces off them like a bouncy ball on a brick fucking wall. But when you accuse FunkyFrogBait of racism, it's actually going to affect them because they're a good person. Clearly a good person, clearly an ally, clearly someone who cares about these issues. Anyway, without further ado, let's actually have a look at the clip that got FunkyFrogBait cancelled.
You can probably understand why I think that perhaps They might be. Okay, well, I didn't think they were poisoned originally, but now that you've said that, you can probably understand why I think that perhaps they might be. Funky Gooseworx is a racist, bad news. Literally, y'all made that up. Y'all made that up. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, I have to take this a second for that. Y'all literally will go online, and there's two different types of people, right? There's people that go online and then just make up shit about people. But you know who also is terrible? The people who make up bad shit about people with literally zero evidence, and then spread that without doing their own research.
Yeah, they're right. They're bang on here. If you are saying Gooseworx is a racist, you're making it up. Maybe making it up is a bit too strong, but you are taking very limited and very shallow bits of evidence and over-exaggerating them to a terrifying and unreasonable extent. Now, as we will find out, FunkyFrogBait hasn't actually seen any of those old tweets at this point. Now, I don't know if that's something that they lied about in their response video to sort of cover their ass a little bit, or if it's genuinely true and they didn't think those tweets were a big deal, which I am on that boat, by the way. It's not something I'm going to lie about. I'm not going to say that I don't know about the tweets and that I don't think they're a racist and that the only reason I don't think is because I'm not. No, I've seen the tweets. I don't think they're a racist. Or at the very least, if they are, it has nothing to do with those old fucking tweets. However, if it is genuinely true that FunkyFrogBait hasn't seen the tweets or the evidence that people are talking about, they probably shouldn't have come in with such a strong opinion on the topic that they haven't educated themselves on. However, I also can completely understand how they came to this conclusion. I'll let them talk more, but trust me, I've got a lot to say here.
If you go online and you see a random, unverified rumor about a creator, which this has happened to me countless times, which is why it pisses me off so bad, and you immediately just start spreading that shit all over the place. Yeah, did you hear? They were racist. Did you hear? They're actually transphobic. Did you hear? They're actually homophobic. Did you hear? They actually were mean to a fan in public. You are just as bad as the person who made up that shit. Because you have the basic ethical requirement to just make sure something insane and awful that you're saying about a person is true before you start spreading that shit. So you are just as bad as the person who made that up if you just spread it without verifying it.
I don't know if they are just as bad, but I completely understand what they're talking about. I'll tell you guys a little story here. I'm going to take this channel back 2 years ago. Roughly 2 years. Maybe not even 2 years ago. A year and a half ago. Well, a year and 8 months. Whatever. A while ago. I was accused by a white woman of many things. Many things. We will go for racism, which was actually one of the least offensive things that I was accused of. But since it is pertinent to the conversation, we will stick to the racism allegation. I am going to play you all the clip that led this creator to the conclusion that I was, in fact, a racist. And by proxy, hundreds of thousands of people were then led to believe that I was in fact a racist because they all believed it with no evidence, really. In every other aspect of school life, the bloke's clueless. He doesn't know how to act like a school kid at all, but he's kind of nailed it on this one. The tones, the mannerisms, he's so sassy. To all the girls watching this who like sassy men, if this doesn't get your beef curtains in a twist, then I don't know what will. Now, my prescription of that, I think, 2-year-old clip at this point is that it was a bit of a cringe joke to make. I don't really use language like beef curtains or any of that bullshit in my channel now. I ultimately just don't find it very funny, and it's just crass. It's just a little too edgy for the sake of being edgy. You can call it a misogynistic thing to say, I wouldn't really have a problem with that, but regardless, not a huge deal, and also not something that I do anymore. Now, believe it or not, the clip I just played led hundreds of thousands of people to believe that this was the accusation that was made. I had a preference for pale, bleached vaginas, and I was disparaging and insulting women of color for not having white vaginas or unpigmented vagina lips. I was also called an incel and a porn addict because of this clip, by the way. You might think I'm exaggerating here. I promise you I'm not. But we'll stick to the racism clip, right? Whatever. A white woman accused me of insulting women of color for their vaginas based on me saying beef curtains jokingly a couple of years back. It wasn't a couple of years back at the time, it was like maybe 2 months back. And obviously, as I say it now, it seems ridiculous and insane and unhinged. However, I am not lying to you, I am not exaggerating. Certain people who have been here for a while will know this to be true as well. This led hundreds of thousands of people to genuinely believe that I was, in fact, a racist. I was getting thousands of comments, of DMs, of tweets, of TikToks, of people calling me a racist, calling me an incel porn addict. Again, those are some of the least offensive accusations that were thrown against me at the time, but we'll stick to the ones that are relevant to this video. People had managed to even find my girlfriend at the time's private Instagram account to alert them of my racism and porn addiction. Again, I cannot make it clearer that the majority of people who viewed and listened to this white woman believed her, and that clip there was all it took for people to believe that I was a massive racist. Now, the reason that this is directly relevant to the Gooseworx situation and this FunkyFrogBait situation is when people come into FunkyFrogBait's live chat and say, Gooseworx is a massive racist, Funky, as someone who knows the internet and knows how easy it is to manipulate audiences, something that I am all too familiar with as well, unfortunately, as someone who has been on the worst end of it many times at this point. If Funky is someone who is familiar at all with Gooseworx, will look at a comment like that and think, this is probably someone massively over-exaggerating claims of racism like the internet does so commonly. Like, if I was live streaming and someone came into the chat and left me a $5 donation calling Curtis Connor a massive racist, I would probably think this is likely to be nothing. Now, I understand that it is potentially a microaggression to immediately dismiss claims of racism. And I'm not even saying that this isn't even a sign of a blind spot that FunkyFrogBait has race-wise. I'm not saying that this isn't a microaggression. I do think that microaggression is the absolute worst case scenario for what you can prescribe this clip with, however. And microaggressions, virtually by definition, are micro. The reason why micro is built into the term is because it's not an example of obscene, insane, cancelable racism. It is something that can be learned and apologized for and moved on from, especially because this is like one instance of it in a very long career that they have had. A career where they are constantly showing how much they understand the issues of people of color, sympathize with said issues, and have done much activism to help oppressed groups as well. They are clearly an ally, clearly a good person, and have made a lot of good content centered around such allyship, I guess. For you to take this one clip of a potential and very understandable, in my opinion, microaggression on a live stream that isn't pre-planned or pre-written and call FunkyFrogBait a fucking racist that can't be listened to and needs to be cancelled over this, it cannot be moved on from, it cannot be apologized for, is fucking unhinged. We're not even done with this clip. We're not even done with the clip. I will let it play out, don't worry. But I'm trying to make it as clear to you guys as possible as a content creator who has dealt with issues like this, who has seen accusations like this be circled around and hive-minded by people in real time who don't actually do any research, are unable to think for themselves, accusing so many people, me being one of them at some point, of insane fucking allegations that are based on nothing. This is very common for the internet. So as much as I don't agree with FunkyFrogBait's reaction here, if they are truly uneducated on the topic, I completely understand it. And I hope you guys can respect that.
Literally no evidence that they were a racist. Literally none. That's just something that people were making up and spreading all over the place. Because why go after people that are openly racist, openly homophobic, openly transphobic, when it's so much more fun and satisfying and there's so much blood in the water when you can find someone who is actually just trying to be a decent person, but then plot twist, hot take, they're actually bad. See, that's so much more fun, right? It's so much more fun to, like, try to dig up dirt on someone who's, like, making genuinely good art, or donating to a bunch of really important causes, or trying to raise awareness about, like, really important social justice issues.
Yeah, I mean, they're correct! They're just right! They are just right! I don't know how much good work Gooseworx has done, but if they are truly doing all of that shit and people are calling them a huge racist who cannot be redeemed because of those old tweets from, like, a fucking decade ago? I mean, again, it's not surprising, but it's incredibly fucking disappointing. And now, the exact same thing is happening to FunkyFrogBait. They're talking about what's happening to themselves here. But also, like I said, it's not just that it's more fun to dig up dirt on people who are allies, or in a lot of people's minds, just pretending to be allies to prove that they're not who they say they are and that they're secretly a massive racist. It's also because those people are more likely to respond because they're not fucking sociopaths. Like I said before, you call Asmongold a racist, he's not gonna fucking respond to you. He's not gonna make a response video on TikTok or YouTube. He's not gonna apologize. It's not gonna work. So people just sort of give up instead of focusing their attention towards genuinely racist people, genuinely offensive aggressive, genuinely dangerous people, they go for people like FunkyFrogBait and Gooseworx.
It's way more fun to ruin those people's lives than the people who are actually openly awful, disgusting people, right? Oh, the blood in the water just tastes so much better when we do it to those people, right?
Right, look at this fucking top comment. Oh wow, this clip is actually horrible. It's not. It really isn't. It's not horrible. They're correct. I know they apologized for this clip. I disagree with their apology. Partially. Again, okay, so like I said, if they genuinely have no idea about the tweets, they should not be talking about something that they are not educated on. They shouldn't. With this strong of an opinion, they shouldn't be doing it. It is potentially a microaggression. It's bad. They shouldn't have done it. Fine. And maybe that's worth apologizing for. But they're also correct. Like, they are just, even without knowing it, if they don't know it, if they don't know they're correct, that's whatever. That's one thing. But they are correct here, even without knowing it. Whether they are knowledgeable of how correct they are or not, they are absolutely fucking bang on here. People are saying the clip is horrible, I think, because she sounds very angry and a little unhinged and emotional about this. No, I so understand it. Like, I really fucking empathize with them here. But I completely understand why they're getting so angry about it. I don't know if any of you have tuned into my streams, but it's not uncommon for me to get like this either. And we're both relatively new to streaming, which, like, streaming at the best of times gets you a little fucking, you know, pissed off. But when you're new to it and you're not, I'm not like a great streamer yet or anything, I'm getting better. I definitely am getting better. Like, when you watch the old videos on Shepherd Boy, compare them to now, it's like night and day. Go subscribe to Shepherd Boy, by the way, my live stream channel. But yeah, it's hard, and you are more likely to say things that you don't really mean or that you've not fully researched or whatever. And as content creators, it is very easy to get angry at issues that affect, because this isn't really about Gooseworx. Who gives a fuck about Gooseworx? This is about how easy it is to manipulate people and how easy it is for accusations as big as racism to be spread around baselessly with no evidence, with millions of people believing them based on nothing. And they're so believed that even just defending the person or saying that they might not be a huge racist makes you a fucking racist by proxy. That idea is terrifying to content creators for very good reason, because it means that you could also potentially be cancelled for fucking nothing. I mean, it's literally happened to me before, and now it's happening to FunkyFrogBait.
Views when I talk about because when people see that I'm talking about a person that they like that's actually secretly evil, I get way more views than if I actually try to hold people accountable who are openly and obviously being bigoted and nasty. Yeah. Please miss me with that shit. I'm so over it. I'm so over. It's not even cancel culture anymore. It's literally sharks circling in the water and immediately going into a fucking feeding frenzy the moment a drop of blood breaks the surface tension of the waves. Immediately feeding frenzy. 100%. Dox them, dox their families, ruin their lives, cut off their income, spam in their comment sections, ruin their lives. I'm over it. I'm so over it. I'm so done. And the fact that I can't even step up to defend Gooseworx without someone being like, actually, they're a racist. Really? Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? Oh, did you just see that in the comment section somewhere? And now it's your God-given duty to...
Yeah, that's what it is. That is what it is. It's like the fucking DoorDash thing. Oh, she opened the door. What's your evidence? I saw a TikTok comment. That's all it is. That's how easy it is to manipulate people, because people on the internet are fucking stupid. I don't even know. Maybe that's too harsh. Maybe genuinely that is too harsh. I don't know if people on the internet are dumb. It's just that people on the internet don't have the time to dig into every accusation or allegation that is made about a person, because most of them have jobs. So if they see something, it's just easier for them to assume that it's true, because in good faith, they assume that the person saying it isn't lying or malicious or horrible. I obviously think that is naive, and it's very easy for me as a content creator whose job it is to be online to call that stupid, but when I really think about the situations that most of these commenters or people online are in, that aren't content creators, that have normal jobs and normal families and shit, that don't have time to go into every allegation like I do, I understand why they believe them. I do. But again, I also completely understand what FunkyFrogBait is talking about here, and I am also over it. I've been over it for fucking years now.
I'm over it! I'm so over it! I'm so over people pretending that they're good people because they spend all day just absolutely hell-bent on ruining everyone's lives. And that's all you do all day long. You don't contribute anything creative to the internet. You don't make any meaningful content. You don't add any, like, insight that's remotely valuable or good. You don't offer anyone fucking encouragement or kindness a single moment in your life. But what you will do all day long and feel so ethically superior while doing it is literally just spreading the most abjectly false, disgusting, vilifying statements about literal innocent strangers. It'll be someone who makes pottery for a living, and you're like, actually, I heard from user 747, that this business, blah, blah, blah. That's all you do all day long. And you feel like a good person when doing it. And you should be ashamed of that. Ah! Over it. Over it. I'm so done. And I don't even... Here's the thing. I don't even like the Amazing Digital Circus that much. I don't know anything about Gooseworx. Okay? At the end of the day, I have no dog in this fight. But it's so exhausting to see innocent people vilified and treated like garbage and having their lives ruined and having the love of their art stripped from them publicly, like they're getting tarred and feathered in the town square.
I don't know anything about Gooseworx after going on a 5-minute rant trying to defend them. Again though, this is the thing, and this is what I feel as though they should have done a better job portraying. Again, they're not perfect here, but again, it's a live stream, so I'm gonna give them some grace. This is not really about Gooseworx. It isn't. It's not about Gooseworx. It's about a content creator being fucking terrified about how easy it is for false and baseless allegations to be spread based on nothing. I'm sure you can all understand how, as a content creator, that is a horrifying thought. And it's one that unfortunately isn't going away anytime soon. It's something that I genuinely really try actively to fight against on this channel. But like, you know, what the fuck am I gonna do? I know that's quite like a defeatist attitude to have. Don't worry, I'm not gonna stop trying to do it. But like, I understand how little impact I am having on the wider internet as a whole. I'm not saying I've had no impact. Every now and I get comments every now and then being like, oh, you've helped me view the internet in a more critical lens, or like actually think about allegations before I parrot them, or when I see them online. And that shit, it really makes my day. Like, it warms my cold, icy heart. That genuinely, that makes it all worth it for me. It really does. I love that shit. Because it really, especially because it really isn't hard. It really isn't hard to demand enough evidence for a claim of racism before you are able to parrot that someone is a horrific racist, and that anyone who defends them or supports them is also a horrific racist.
My neck out for any rando at this point, because if this because it's just a matter of time before it happens to me.
Yeah, that's the crux of the issue here. This isn't about Gooseworx. Now, where they fucked up is they are defending Gooseworx without knowing anything about them. They haven't seen the tweets. I think if they started this monologue with, I've seen the tweets and they mean fucking nothing, then there would be nothing wrong with what FunkyFrogBait did here. It's just the fact that they haven't seen anything and they are immediately assuming that it's all bullshit, which is potentially bad, potentially microaggressive, but also completely fucking understandable from a content creator's point of view. I really hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down there, because I don't know if I'm verbalizing it in the most easy to understand way. Anyone who makes content or is like a content creator or a YouTuber will understand exactly what the fuck I'm saying. But for everyone else, I can only really help. I guess genuinely let me know in the comments if I'm getting this across the way that I want to. Even if I am and you disagree with me, of course, let me know why as well. Like, this is it's a conversation that's very important to me. So I really do want to know what your thoughts are. Like, and I mean that genuinely.
I don't give a fuck about the Amazing Digital Circus, if I'm being honest. I think Glitch has much more interesting projects, in my opinion. I've said that multiple times. But it doesn't matter if I don't personally like a creator that much. I will still stick my neck out for them when I see this dogpiling bullshit, because I know that tomorrow it's gonna be me. And every creator should be thinking like that. Before they join these dog piles, before they're like, Chaperone hates children. Think for 5 seconds how likely it is that's gonna happen to you next. Just use some basic logic.
I mean, they're so correct. And the thing is, if it does happen to you, and you are someone who has parroted these allegations with no evidence, then you can't fucking complain. Because you have fostered an audience of people intentionally who are willing to believe fucking anything based on nothing. So when you are a victim of said harassment campaigns or slander campaigns, you fucking, that's the whole you dog, go lie in it.
And recognize that you're next on the chopping block. So even if you don't know the creator, you should at least put in a little effort, I feel like, to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on these hate trains. Because most of the time, they don't make sense. Sorry. I had to go on that rant. I feel like it's a long time coming.
And there you go. That is the clip that everyone is furious at FunkyFrogBait for. I feel like now is a good time to have a look at their first response. They have released another response like 10 hours ago at time of recording. We're going to watch the first one first, and then we're going to look at some coverage of their response, and then we will look at their newest and improved apology, I guess. Oh, yeah, okay. Heads up. I remember how this starts now. The start is not great.
Made any attempt to address a negative reaction to something I have said, it has immediately resulted in far worse backlash. I am in every single possible way incentivized to do nothing right now. Everything about this statement will be scrutinized and insulted, from my tone of voice, the fact I'm reading from something I wrote beforehand, the way I look, my choice of wording, even the length of the video itself. I've been on the internet for a long time. I know how this works.
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely correct. People, I always fucking hate those, I always hate those criticisms of, oh my god, I can't believe you're reading from a script. It's like, no, this is my life. This is my fucking career. My career is on the line here. Let me read off a fucking script. Not being scripted and saying something off the cuff is what got me into trouble to begin with. There is nothing wrong with reading from a script in a situation like this. It does not make it any less heartfelt. However, her starting the apology with, I don't need to apologize. In fact, apologizing is, I'm incentivized not to, but I'm doing this because I'm a good person. I think it's really tacky. I do think it's tacky. I do think it's cringe. Is it a big deal? Is it that deep? Not really. But it is a bit cringe. Sure, I'll give you that.
But there is something about thousands of people calling you a racist that really cannot go unacknowledged. I'm not going to cry on camera or bring out a ukulele. If you still think I'm a racist after watching this video, it is not my place to tell you otherwise. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened and address the accusations against me. After this, I will continue to upload my content as usual because I will have nothing more to say about this. This past Sunday, while playing a game on stream, someone brought up the Amazing Digital Circus. I had just seen a Penguin Zero video about how the last episode was leaked and how the creator Gooseworx had received intense criticism for this, despite it being out of her control. I am not a fan of the Amazing Digital Circus. I have previously expressed my disinterest in the show after the topic had been spammed in my chat during streams multiple times. The community surrounding the show seemed very unpleasant to be a part of, and I honestly did not want to associate with it. Despite this, I still express sympathy for Gooseworx because I want indie art to succeed, even if it's indie art that I don't particularly like. I made the point that while many users claim to want more authentic human-made content, they often treat the humans making it poorly. While talking about this, a handful of users started spamming that Gooseworx was a racist in the chat. While most of my viewers are wonderful and I love to interact with them, there are others who will spam misinformation, insults, and extremely dark subject matter at me while streaming. My moderators are volunteers. They do the best that they can. These were extremely serious allegations from a fanbase that has developed a very bad reputation online, provided without any context whatsoever. My only knowledge of Gooseworx's behavior at this point with regards to racism was that she had recently made it very clear that racists were not in any way welcome in the Amazing Digital Circus fandom in a very strongly worded tweet. I have since done my research, as I have been asked to do. What I found were certainly not things I would ever post. From what I can tell, they were intended to be jokes, but I personally didn't find them funny, and it makes sense that they would disturb people.
Yeah, the reason why no context was probably given in those original chat messages is because they didn't know the context, because they were just following what other people said. Like, the tweets are actually pretty hard to find. They're not easy to find at all. There's no way the majority of people calling Gooseworx a racist have actually seen the fucking tweets. What Funky says there about understanding why the original tweets may disturb, I mean, because I agree with them, I don't find them very funny. I don't think that they're good jokes, but again, they are very obviously jokes. They're very obviously not markers of their genuine opinion on black people or people of color, especially nowadays, a decade after most of the tweets were made. And whilst, yeah, I guess I can understand why they may disturb people, it's just not a religion or thought process that I myself subscribe to in the least.
Whether or not Gooseworx's more recent statements show sufficient personal growth to ethically consume her content seems to be a very hotly contested question right now.
It shouldn't be. It really fucking shouldn't be. I think honestly that goes to show why the digital circus community has such a fucking horrible reputation. The fact that that is like a hotly contested debate is insane to me. It's insane to me.
It's an easy question for me. I already wasn't and don't see myself doing so in the future. In the moment while streaming, based on the information I had, I shut down the chatters who were making these accusations. I assumed This was just more extreme behavior stemming from the episode leak.
It's so funny because their assumption, whilst yes, being an assumption, you shouldn't have assumed that's bad, but to be clear, their assumption was absolutely fucking correct. It was just a bunch of irrelevant shit being blown out of proportion after the episode leak. That's exactly what it was. Again, you shouldn't have assumed it. You should have educated yourself properly. Fucking whatever. But they were correct.
It made me very upset because it touched on something that had been weighing on me for a while. That harassment campaigns online under the guise of accountability have gotten out of control. That these harassment campaigns often spread misinformation. That the purpose of these call-outs or cancellations or whatever you want to call them is often not effective at actually preventing harm, but it is very effective at finding a righteous justification for doing harm to someone else.
They're so correct. They're so fucking correct here, dude. It's just like, it's actually really validating for me as a content creator who has gone through this shit before, to watch someone vocalize the thoughts that I have had for years now. Someone who isn't me, obviously. It's like, fuck, I'm not the only one who feels this way.
The irony was that only a few hours later, videos accusing me of being a racist were getting thousands of likes. If you, after hearing the facts about what happened, choose to still believe that I am a racist, that makes me horribly sad. But I can't do anything about it. If you believe, as many people have stated, that I'm just another fake white queer that likes to live out rather than meaningfully critique the evils of white supremacy and capitalism, I disagree with you. But I accept that I can't change your mind.
Of course, if you want to have that opinion, you're completely free to do so. I think you're fucking unhinged, but, you know, you're allowed to have that opinion for sure.
What I refuse to accept is the people filling my comment sections so obviously delighted to prove that I have been secretly bigoted and hypocritical all this time, after everything that I have posted. I refuse to accept the glee with which they finally feel justified to say extremely cruel things about me as a person. I refuse to accept people dropping isolated claims that I am racist on several social media platforms, completely separated from the context of the original video, likely leading many of my followers to believe that if they are not white, I do not value or advocate for them, which is not true. This behavior is disgusting. Exactly what I was addressing on stream.
Yeah, by the way, completely valid frustration on their end. Completely valid. It's not an apology. They've not apologized for anything, but I don't think they I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to I don't think they did really anything wrong. Okay, again, just to be clear, they should have educated themselves before they had a strong opinion on it, like I've said so many times before, but they didn't do anything meaningfully wrong.
This is the only statement that I will be making about this. If you want to continue to express how much you dislike me, that's fine. All I can ask is that you try to do so responsibly. Leave your opinions under this video or the video where the incident actually occurred so that people have the full context of the situation. Cite your sources. Use my actual words. If you are right, and I am secretly a terrible person, this basic level of honesty should not weaken your position at all. I would also ask that you perhaps engage with me the same way I engage with all of you. The things I say are said in my voice with my face attached to it. I don't think it's unfair to ask for the same level of vulnerability. This may be entertaining drama for you, but it is not to me. I cannot prove to you that I'm a good person. I can only continue to make content about weird topics I find interesting, raise awareness and donate to help communities that need it, and try to make people laugh, because that's the whole reason I started doing this. Whether you continue to watch me or not is up to you.
Not even a single sorry in there, yeah, because it wasn't needed. They didn't need to say sorry. There was nothing worth apologizing for. Then someone mentions the part where they actually do say sorry. 3 minutes in to say sorry instead of saying it off the bat. Masterful gambit. Oh, sorry, hang on. You said not even a single sorry in there. And then there is a single sorry in there. So, you know how you're criticizing them for not having educated themselves or looked at all the evidence before they make a claim about something, and then you're sat there in a TikTok comment doing the exact same fucking thing? Why didn't you say sorry for that? I mean, you did say sorry, quoting that she didn't say it. Why don't you apologize for the misinformation that you're spreading if you're so angry at them for doing it? Maybe it's because, like they said, you're a fucking idiot. Man, people love complaining. They just love it. You forgot to say, sorry, I assumed something with no proof. There just was no proof. I mean, there is no proof that they're a racist, so not really relevant in my opinion. And then you got the big dog just writing an apology for them. Hello, I deeply apologize. I wasn't completely informed upon stating my opinion, nor was I familiar with Gooseworx, and just wanted to defend a deeply personal show too. I apologize. What's done is done. I will try to be better and more informed before making an opinion and defending someone, just shut up. Don't fucking speak. They can speak for themselves. Thank you, mate. All you had to say, by the way. This is so fucking frustrating to me, dude. Apparently it's a cancelable opinion to still express sympathy for Gooseworx, which is what this person here is quoting Funky saying in the video, I guess, which they didn't say directly, but I guess it's implied. If it is cancelable, my career is fucked after this, because I absolutely feel sorry for both Gooseworx and Funky in a situation like this, where they are being dogpiled based on nothing by a bunch of hive-minded fucking freaks. Pseudo-moralist arseholes. Y'all are talking about this as a great apology, yet they literally said they still support Gooseworx. Because there is no ethical reason to not support them. There is nothing wrong with still supporting Gooseworx after everything that's been revealed. If you choose not to, that's fine, but there's nothing wrong with doing so. I still express sympathy for Gooseworx. Why? With 13.5 thousand likes. Because they didn't really do anything wrong. They didn't. Are we like, it's a fucking edgy joke from what, 10 years ago, and a stream that they weren't even a part of, that everyone apologized for, and them oversharing that they like telling edgy jokes to their closest fucking friends 4 years ago. All we see from them nowadays is allyship and anti-racism. Oh, I could cry. I could honestly fucking cry right now, because it makes me so angry. It makes me so sad and frustrated seeing how, Jesus Christ, dude. This video is gonna piss off a lot of people. I know it will. For a comment like this to have 14,000 likes, I know this video is gonna piss off a lot of people. This is gonna be one of those videos that I might end up losing subscribers from. But like I said before, if you add to these dog piles and then you end up getting dogpiled at some point yourself, you can't really complain. This is me putting a safety net on my career. Dogpilers with no critical thought or media literacy are not welcome here. So if you wanna fuck off and unsubscribe and never watch me again and now think that I'm a massive racist, have at it. I feel like it isn't that hard to say, oh, I haven't heard about that, I'll fact check it later. This one has 2,500 likes, and I think, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. I feel that's what they should have said, to be fair. That's definitely the best way to go about it on a live stream. Absolutely. That is the most suitable response to a situation that you don't know about. Again, like I said, I completely understand why they went about it the way that they did. However, I can also acknowledge that this undeniably is the right thing to have said there. So, yeah, fair enough. This is like the first comment that I'm seeing where I'm like, fair play. You are not unhinged. This is a very suitable criticism of FunkyFrogBait, a very responsible way of disagreeing with them whilst also not being insane. Why would you ever start off an apology by saying you guys are going to be mean to me anyways because all you do is criticize, but I'll apologize anyway because I'm a good person? Yeah, like I said, that was tacky for sure. That was cringe. It was cringe. I get it. I really do get it. I really do get. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. But yeah, as much as I get it, it was cringe. Okay, now before we go on to her next response, so like updated, improved one, I want to go over some of the reviews of this one here.
I have made any attempt to address a negative reaction to something I have said. It has immediately resulted in far worse backlash. I am in every single possible way incentivized to do nothing right now.
In my unfortunately now taken down follow-up video where I talked about FunkyFrogBait, I said in the caption that I didn't think this had to be some massive cancelable offense. In fact, with a genuine apology, this could be over with pretty quickly. But I also said that I'd be willing to put my life savings on the fact that they weren't going to do that. That they were either going to 1, ignore it, 2, double down, or 3, post a super manipulative and guilt-trippy post about how they're getting quote-unquote harassed. And lo and behold, they release a response video that starts off with the fact that they technically have no reason to do this, that it'll bring no benefit to them because people are still going to be mean, but they're still going to address it because they're just that good of a person. I want you guys to just take a second, divorce this from the situation it was born of, and imagine this is happening in your life. Someone yelled at you for something they were misinformed about, and thus made themselves a hypocrite in the process. Now they're coming to apologize to you, but before they even utter the word sorry to you, they make sure to let you know that they really have no reason to apologize, that it is of no benefit to them, thus painting themselves as some kind of sacrificial lamb for doing so. You think, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Right, yeah, I agree, it was a cringe way of starting the video, but because the allegations aren't really anything to begin with, I just can't bring myself to care too much. I think it was a cringe way of starting the video, and not really anything more.
Because it's the right thing to do when you're in the wrong. Like in this context, any person with at least half a brain cell wouldn't really accept shit about this apology. But of course, Funky has already lampshaded all of the reasons why this apology sucks ass in the beginning of the video.
I think that anyone with half a brain cell wouldn't even expect an apology, to be honest with you.
So pat on the back, Digi, for experiencing so many white people's apologies that you already know off the bat how they're gonna go. Anyways, let's talk about the actual content of said, I don't even know if you can call it an apology. Because evidently the only thing Funky's sorry for is being too aggressive. The majority of this video isn't so much Funky taking accountability for their actions, and more so them reinstating their point. Mind you, no one disagreed with the point itself. Hell, even I agree with it. I have made videos before about how people will make up stuff to justify their hatred of lolcows, but it's not relevant here, because you were wrong.
No, it's directly relevant here, because they were correct. That's exactly what's happening. People are making shit up about Gooseworx. People are making up that they're a massive racist. Well, again, making up might be the wrong word, but in my mind, grossly over-exaggerating decade-old tweets that mean nothing, that to me is synonymous with making up claims of racism. If you disagree with me, that's fine. That's like whatever. That's pedantic, semantic talk. But in my mind, people are making up that they're a racist.
Someone who has done something wrong in order to defend them is just as bad as making up lies about someone in order to justify hating them. And yet, in the real show of irony, you don't even seem to remotely have the same amount of vitriol for yourself and your own spreading of misinformation, which I personally argue is more dangerous given your fan base and reach, than you did that chatter or the people calling you racist.
What misinformation did they spread? I'd love it if you told us.
They're not even necessarily wrong. Your first instinct being to shut down an allegation of racism without so much as missing a beat comes off as dismissive, like you don't think racism is that big of a deal and that people are over-exaggerating. I mean, let's look at it this way. Imagine me, a cis woman, is ranting about defending someone, and a person brings up the fact that they were transphobic, and without even missing a beat, I just say, no, that's not true, and I go on a rant about how people are spreading misinformation. Not only have I now been the one to spread misinformation to a wide fan base and actively silence already suppressed voices, but it comes off as me thinking transphobia as an issue is not that serious.
Yeah, again, I completely understand why that could be deemed a microaggression. For sure, I get it. I said that earlier, 100%. Potential microaggression, for sure. But I also understand completely, as a content creator, why they came to that opinion so quickly. Especially because it's about someone who is so... It's just so obvious. It's like what I said earlier. If someone came into my chat and said Curtis Connor was a racist, as someone who is knowledgeable about how damaging racism is, as someone who is also, you know, half black, half brown, has been racially abused and also baselessly accused of racism online before, I would look at that comment of someone saying Curtis Connor is a racist, and I wouldn't say it out loud. I don't think I would say it out loud. I wouldn't. But I would, here's what I would say, like that comment said, oh really, I'm not too sure about that. I'll look into it on my own time, and then I'll come back to you later. But in my mind, I would be thinking, this is probably bullshit. The only difference is that FunkyFrogBait, you know, actually vocalized that opinion for about 5 minutes straight and went on a big rant about something that was on their mind, unfortunately related it to Gooseworx with people, because people are unfortunately, they picked Gooseworx as the newest victim of the hive-minded harassment campaign for false and over-exaggerated accusations of racism that realistically shouldn't mean fucking anything. Unless there are some tweets that I somehow haven't seen. So you get comments like these all over the internet. I love Funky, bro. I'm actually so disappointed. They've always had a superiority complex. I'm glad people are finally noticing, to be honest. Start unloving them. This is just insanity. It's just so... oh, man. It's just insane. It's really fucking insane. And then, of course, there are videos like this by TikTokers like Aunt Karen, who we've covered a few times on this channel. Now, she's covered the new apology as well. We'll talk about this one, I'm sure, when we watch that one. But videos like this are like... there's a lot of videos like this one that are incredibly vague and don't actually talk about what happened. Probably because if they talk about what happened, it'll become blaringly obvious just how fucking nothing it is. Like, just how over-exaggerated these racism claims are. Like, the way that Aunt Karen talks about FunkyFrogBait in this video, you would genuinely think that they fucking yelled the N-word unprompted on stream.
Is it when you guys get called out for being racist, your immediate reaction is to deny the system that is calling you out? You made a comment. People checked you on it, and whether you had all the facts at the time, you didn't wait to do that or to have them when you stated your opinion. So you can't then go back and ask people to take what you said in that moment and utilize what you now know to be true. The reality is you said what you said with such vigor, with such enthusiasm. Now when you get called out for being racist, you want to go, but guys, I didn't have all the facts at the time.
But if they didn't have all the facts at the time, that is important information. If they're making a response video, it is incredibly fucking important that they make it clear that they did not have all the facts at the time. Obviously, that might not justify what happened. That's not relevant to this situation in particular, because it doesn't change anything. But if we're to live in a parallel world where the facts that they didn't have actually do matter and make Gooseworx a racist, and this was a genuinely horrible thing that FunkyFrogBait did, it would be important to note that they did not have all the information at the time, and have since educated themselves. Obviously, that does not justify their reaction during the initial stream clip, but it would be important for the response video, because if it was, if they did reveal that they had all the information, that they knew that they were a massive racist, and they still defended them, that would be a lot worse than them just being uneducated. Again, though, not relevant to this situation at all, because even after knowing everything about the situation, Gooseworx clearly isn't a fucking racist, and neither is FunkyFrogBait.
Then why'd you even make a comment? You know, you guys can look at your comment section while while you're streaming and and what's going on and not respond. You chose to respond. You gave a response, and people took that response. And then to try to criticize and go, oh, cancel culture, I do the work. You don't. Because if you did the work, you wouldn't have been baited by your own comment section. I mean...
I'm so glad people on this side of the... Honestly, I think I found a TikTok where like I can actually vibe with the comments here. I looked it up. This is a nothing burger. That seems to be the top comment. Fucking Jesus, thank fuck for that. Maybe there is hope. Okay, let's have a look at the new and improved apology video, eh?
My mistake. I fucked up. I'm gonna start over. We're gonna start off with I'm sorry. I genuinely thought the reason that people were upset at me was because they thought that Gooseworx and me were like this, and I defended all of their actions and thought they were just the best person ever. So my focus in my statement was just trying to go through exhaustive detail of everything that happened exactly as it happened, so that the people that were asking all of these questions would get the answers that I thought they wanted. That's why my statement came off so robotic and unfeeling, because I thought that kind of exact intellectual breakdown was what people expected of me. Now I understand that this actually had nothing to do with Gooseworx at all, and just more my immediate knee-jerk reaction to an accusation of racism. There are so many people who have since gone online and gone through my apology explaining why it's bad. There was even somebody who used me to critique my own apology. So yeah, I was a massive hypocrite. I made the black people in my audience feel horribly uncomfortable, and I'm so sorry for that. I spend weeks researching the scripts for my main channel videos, and I have not gotten used to the streaming format, and I was irresponsible with it. So yeah, I'm either going to completely step back from streaming, or I'm going to just really need to reevaluate how I do it. I never considered how diving into that format could potentially lead me into a situation that doesn't really reflect the carefulness with which I usually make content. It's a very different situation to pour over a script for hours and hours versus being put on the spot, and I was not prepared for it, and I reacted poorly. So in conclusion, the FunkyFrogBait community is not a safe place for racists, and I'm going to try to be more responsible with my platform from here on out.
This is an amazing apology, and anyone who is genuinely still out there believing that they don't deserve a career, they deserve to be cancelled, there's no moving on from this, they're a massive fucking racist after this, yeah, there's nothing they could have done. There's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. And they've left a comment here, which honestly I kind of find this pinned comment a little disappointing. Please don't try to minimize what I did. People look to me to do thorough research, and I did not. I'm the funny research guy, and I didn't research all funny. That was bad. I am sorry. Yeah, fair enough. I agree that it's bad. You didn't do the research before making a strong opinion on something, but you were also fucking correct. You just didn't know you were correct, but you are correct. Everything you said about Gooseworx, despite not knowing it, was absolutely, it was correct. It just was. It was right. It was right. You were right. You are right. Oh my god, I hate the mask slipped, I guess. I fucking hate these comments. It's one that I've been getting so much that I have made a hot new emote for my streams of the mask slipping. Naz, put it up. I think it was you or your girl that made it, so you definitely have it in your folders somewhere. We forgive you. It was never a big deal in the first place. Let's move on. And then there's a bunch of white people here. All right, that's great. I love that. To just dismiss the people of color who accept the apology. Oh, if you're a person of color who thinks this isn't a big deal, then you're a token. You're not a real person of color. You must be white inside. How about go fuck yourself? How about that? How about people of color can have their own fucking minds and they can make their own minds up about this sort of shit? How about this actually wasn't a big deal? It wasn't a big deal in the first place, and we should move on. How about that? I don't know what the fuck you expect from FunkyFrogBait here. They made a mistake. They've apologized for it. That should be it, because it wasn't a big deal. We can move on. This has 11.1 thousand fucking likes, by the way. Jesus. Again, I could cry. I could cry. Based on what they're saying here, they probably won't even agree with me making this video because I am kind of minimizing what they did. But like, even if they don't agree with me, I'm allowed to have my opinion as well, I think. And I think that this was all so ungodly stupid. It was so dumb. It was all so dumb. It was so stupid. And they were so right. Even if they didn't know it. In fact, the fact that they didn't know what they were talking about and still hit the nail on the head probably means that they were more correct than they even thought they were. Anyway, let's hear what Aunt Karen has to say about this apology video, eh?
A new game called Rate That Apology. I'm your host, Aunt Karen. This is their second apology attempt, and everybody in the comments are just, wow, thanks for coming back and really acknowledging what you did. Their apology was over a minute long in this video. You know, it doesn't take over a minute to say, I'm sorry. But when you're monetizing, you want the coin from your apology video, you're definitely going to make sure it's a minute long. You guys are so easily fooled. They're like, and people in the comments, wow, they took so much accountability and they left their old video up. You mean the one that has 2.3 million views that's over a minute long, so they're making sure that they cash in for? Oh, guys, are we all so easily fooled? If you really wanted to say you're sorry, just say, I'm sorry. I mean, it's not that hard. Okay?
So condescending. Jesus. I really don't like this. You suck, dude. There is nothing. The fact is, there is nothing. There is absolutely nothing FunkyFrogBait could have said that would have made Auntie Cat, whatever this TikToker's name is, there's nothing that would have made them happy. Nothing. There is not one thing. If they did come online and say, I'm sorry, and that was it, it would have been, oh, I'm sorry for what? Fucking take accountability. Tell us what you did that was wrong. That's not a very long apology. The original apology was 6 minutes long. Not apology. The original video was 6 minutes long, and your apology is 2 seconds. The apology should be as loud as the disrespect. What is this? Why is this so short? Like, this isn't real accountability. What the fuck are you doing? No evidence that those original videos are monetized, by the way. Yeah, no evidence at all. I'm not sure. Like, you don't get ads on TikTok, do you? So there is no evidence that these videos are monetized. And I would assume, based on what I know about TikTok, that even if they're not monetized, it's not like she's making fucking bank off of them. But whatever. That's the video, I guess. Definitely gonna annoy some people, this one, but is what it is. If you're someone who agrees or disagrees with me, let me know in the comments why. And I genuinely mean that more than ever on this video, because I really, really do want to hear what you guys think about this situation, what you think about my coverage of it, and yeah, that's about it really. So I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.